When attraction fades in marriage, what to do? You've been saying that.
For more training on building and attracting a blissful marriage, please visit www.lolaandola.com.
When attraction fades in marriage, what to do? You've been saying that. I was going there.
Oh.
How to get the attraction back, rekindle attraction in a marriage, how to increase attraction in marriage. These are all similar questions. What are the first things that comes to your mind?
Comes to my mind is
It's dead. We feel like roommates now. We feel like we go like straight 2 weeks sometimes without having sex. I know some people say, but that's not bad.
What's the situation?
Make sure it's not bad with your spouse first before you say that.
Yeah, it depends on everybody's situation.
That's why I said make sure that you're like
some
like
people
use that as the first thing people say is that it depends. No relationship is like there's some core things that are very similar in every relationship. There's some core things that's just the same.
There's a reason why you're not having sex with your partner, and you're just having it 2 to 3 times in 3 months. Or twice a month.
I said
there's no attraction now. Attraction is reduced.
It's actually a very common thing that people that go straight 1 week without having sex, it's not because she's on a period. It's very common thing for them
I'm tired.
to be defensive. No. That's being obvious part. That's goes so obvious.
We work so hard.
No, not that. They say this. I'm talking about the woke ones.
Oh,
I'm not talking about the ones that
they woke.
I'm talking about the woke ones. The woke ones are very quick to say, but not all marriages are equal. Like there's no one size fits all. It's their quick go-to.
Okay.
The truth is that there are some core things.
Yeah, but before they got married, they used to have sex like rabbits. So what changed?
Yeah.
I think that's the question I would have loved to ask those woke ones. At some point, how many times did you have sex a week? If you can tell me, we have sex like 3 to 4 times, or maybe if you tell me once in a month, maybe then I'll accept that. That's just how you guys are. But if you used to have sex like rabbits, and all of a sudden you don't have time to have sex, you have to remember that. I mean, you have to understand that whatever is important in your life, you make time for it. I don't care how much work you do. I don't care how.
But you have to know that it's important.
Tired you are.
It's layers by
very,
layers.
very important.
What if
to
you
make time
feel?
for
I'm
it.
talking about people that actually feel it's not important. Not all marriages.
But it was important at some point.
No, they feel like it just like.
It's
what are you
okay
talking
for
about?
sex to decline in a marriage.
We're talking about this moment right now. We're talking right now. They are woke. They came on our show right now, and they heard somebody say, "How often should you have sex in a marriage?" And their first go-to knee-jerk reaction talk is
3 to.
It depends on the marriage. That's their first thing.
They say it depends on couple to couple.
It depends on couple to couple. It just depends. It's their first go-to. It's a defense mechanism for some people, not all. It's a defense mechanism for some. They're justifying that it's okay to go as long as you want, as long as you are still married. It just depends on the marriage. No, there's a place it gets to, is what I'm saying, where you know that this is not healthy.
It's not healthy.
How do you find that out? The first step is make sure your spouse, because some people are assuming that they've never had this conversation with their spouse. Make sure your spouse is okay going a whole week, because a lot of these people's spouse are complaining that there's no enough affection or intimacy in their marriage.
That's true.
But when they appear on a show like this by themselves, they're very quick to say it depends on the marriage. No, it doesn't depend on the marriage when it gets to a certain point. If you go straight 2 weeks and it's a common thing in your marriage and nobody is sick, it's not medical. It's not she's on her period. I guarantee you one of you two is not happy with that. The only thing is that maybe you haven't had the conversation. Now, if you've had the conversation and you say, no, I'm good. Oh, we both don't like it. I'm not saying that's not possible, but it's almost impossible.
I mean, I know someone
that's the hard part to go
from work that said she only has sex with her husband once a month, and there's nothing he can do about it. That's just what it's gonna be. And
wait, that's not what's the rest of the conversation? Is that what she wants?
That's what that's not what the spouse wants, but this is what she said to herself.
Exactly.
Like, that's just what she has to offer, and that's what it is. And I remember looking at her like, okay, something's off here. Like, why would you just want to have?
No, but did she
Sex
acknowledge
once
that the
a
husband wants more?
She did. She
Okay,
said
that's
she's
a
not-
problem brewing up.
She said she's not going to give him more than once a month.
That's a problem brewing up. It's only a matter of time.
And she didn't say it that way. She was like, that's all she can give. You should
Well-
know that by now.
Well, bad things happen to good people. She doesn't have to see it that way. She could be a very good person, by the way. She doesn't have to see it that way. It's going to creep up on her. But maybe dude is not really communicating too. Maybe dude doesn't have game. Because again, another thing about attraction is that you have to have game. Even after you marry that person.
I think people miss that.
When they were talking about the guy that proposed, to me, I saw that as a moment to practice to practice seduction. The girl said, why are you not kneeling down? If you really want that girl, like, of course I'm about to kneel down. Yeah. It's a moment to seduce her. But he got caught up in his pride.
He got caught up in his feelings.
Right.
The guy behind the camera kept saying, kneel down now. Just do it.
But my friends that are quote unquote traditional, which I don't think is traditional, it's just lack of emotional intelligence. It's not traditional for you to feel that all of this. No, it's lack of emotional intelligence. This is when it becomes lack of emotional intelligence. When you have zero respect for how the other person feels, that's when it becomes lack of emotional intelligence. We're not talking about how you feel. We know you're traditional, but when you want a person, you come with respect to where they're coming from.
Yes.
If you were about to get with an American person,
yes,
the right thing to do is learn how they do things.
Yes.
And then you seduce them like that. Right? And if you don't do that, maybe you got lucky because the person was that much attracted to you in the beginning. It's only a matter of time before you start having problems. And then that person will require you to learn their own love language and reciprocate accordingly, because if you don't, you will drain that person.
Right.
So the easy part is to say, oh yeah, it depends. Oh, 2 or 3 times. No, that's easy. It depends. It really does depend. But now it depends, a common thing coming from woke people. Okay, let's take it a little bit further. At what point, for an average couple, does it become a problem? Does it become problematic to not have regular sex? At some point, it becomes a problem for everyone.
Yes.
So Dami Speaks says new subscriber from DMV
Vlogs.
Thank you, Dami, for stopping by.
Hey,
Thank you so
Dami,
much.
you're my namesake.
Yeah. So I love this topic.
Thank you.
All right. So let's get into a little bit. We covered some right there, right? So let's get into how to rekindle, right? Listen.
You have to listen.
And listen doesn't stop at listening.
I have a friend that says that listen.
He or she has to feel heard, but especially if it's a woman, she needs to feel heard. Okay, she needs to feel heard. If she doesn't feel heard, that the opposite, resentment, because again, she doesn't feel like she has an input. Right?
Yes.
And it may seem like I'm saying this on the standpoint of men to women all the time, but I really feel like it's easier for a man who understands seduction to maintain attraction in that marriage. I do feel that way. Okay. Now, if you're a woman and you feel like attraction is already drained out in your marriage and you don't know what to do, how does listening and feeling heard translate to a man? It's a man's ego.
Okay. You have to know how to massage that ego.
Yeah, because you did the same thing when you guys were dating. Like I said earlier, it shouldn't stop, but it does stop, and it's not your fault that it stopped. It's just natural thing, human beings. But now that you know, his ego is a fragile thing. Yeah, he thinks it's logical, and then his balls are in your hands. Okay, but you need to know that. Okay, you need to know that sometimes he needs to get his point in, right? But there's something about him that there's a button, right? And they
call it the mumu button.
He has a mumu button.
They have to have,
that mumu button, right? That mumu button is basically your seduction tool.
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's your seduction tool. And seduction sounds terrible to a lot of people. It sounds like, oh yeah, it sounds like some people equate it to manipulation.
Oh,
well, whatever you want to call it. What I'm saying is that if you want a happy marriage, a happy relationship, right? in the long run, somebody's going to have to learn how to seduce somebody inside of marriage because you did that in the beginning. So
Yes,
what
so
makes you think
that it has to
you
stop.
did that? You dressed up well when I came to pick you up to go to movies, to go to a concert in Connecticut. Did you not?
Mhm.
Did you not look at yourself multiple times in the
Okay,
mirror
I sure
to make
did.
sure?
I
Right?
was like,
So
okay.
we're still the same human beings, right?
Yes, so
So now if you get complacent and you just say you just want to get reckless, right? Whatever comes out of that day is the effects too.
unfortunately it is.
That's just what it is.
And I have to say this because I have a friend that actually didn't understand that. So she's a very beautiful, good-looking body, is like all set, you know. And anytime she goes out, she gets guys like easy, but she can't maintain them. Like
Right.
they end up leaving. And she asked me one day, why? And I was like, how do you get them?
Yeah.
You know, when she's going out, she's looking like a sex goddess.
Yeah.
But then the minute she starts dating them, she switches to joggers and t-shirts.
Yep.
And I'm like, no, you can't do that. You can't get a guy with all your, you know, whatever you got going on and then become a slop in a relationship. You have to keep that up, especially if you have a guy that will give you money to go get your nails done. They do that. They're like, get your nails done, get your hair done. They cater to you.
Yeah.
So what makes you feel like you get in a relationship and then you can become the homie? That's why they leave.
Look at my bros here. Who makes the first move, Bradiola?
What's Bradiola?
Bradiola Kotau.
Hey,
Who makes,
that's my bros.
Who makes the first move? If all else fails, the man should always make the first move. Make the first move. It's confidence, you know. It's just confidence, you know, and that's a very attractive thing to women, especially fine women. They like when you make the first move. It's bigger than just you making the first move. It's confidence, is feeling feeling secured, is feeling safe. The guy will, you know, if a woman walks up to you because you are just too fine and she toasted you, that's not always a good thing. Because that behavior, because in case you like that person or you just didn't make the first move, eventually that behavior tend to transcend beyond just the beginning.
They will expect you to keep making the move.
The man will expect the woman to keep making, and then it's resentment later on.
It's like the lion, you know, when he goes in search for his prey, right? If the prey start chasing the lion, it's kind of oxymoronish. I mean, I understand we live in a world that, you know, things have changed a little bit, but women still love being chased, and men still naturally likes to chase women.
Now let's take it deeper. Let's talk about sex.
Okay.
So sex in the marriage, who makes the first move? I like it when my woman makes a move. It's sexy, you know, but I'm not delusional. Okay. If that happens over and over again, she will start questioning. Again, remember, this is psychology, right? She will start questioning, why is it that I'm making the first move all the time? See, if I'm making the first move and I'm a man, again, no one size fits all with this.
Yeah.
But for the most part, we still live in that kind of society, right? If I'm making the first move all the time, worst case scenario is that, you know, I will feel tired of making the move, right? And then at some point, she's going to sense that it's been a minute because she's used to predicting me. But all of a sudden, I'm unpredictable, and that's attractive.
I mean, when it comes to that, I know women that have made the first move on their spouse, and it has been catastrophic. I don't know, maybe it's the African man thing. Or maybe it's because some people still live in Nigeria.
What do you mean catastrophic?
Like they get called ashawo and stuff like that for wanting to make a move on their spouses.
Well, let's balance it.
So when you have a spouse that is not open-minded, what do?
Let's balance it. If the man is asking who makes the first move, there's a good chance he makes the move most of the time.
And he wants a little...
And he's feeling lack thereof.
Okay.
So what will stroke his ego is for him to feel wanted.
Right.
Once in a while.
Right.
Okay. It's the feeling wanted thing, right? It's always skewed to one side and the other. Okay. That's just natural in most relationship, right? It could be the woman who makes the move all the time. There's nothing wrong with that. It's very natural that it happens like that most of the time. But once in a while, the other side would like to feel wanted.
Mm.
Okay, if that person is not doing, if that's a woman, right,
Mm-hmm.
that doesn't make a move ever, lie,
Mm-hmm.
good, game on. It's time to learn how to seduce.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's not going to be making physical move. Meaning, I'm going to seduce you in other
So
ways.
wanna
You
ask
get it?
me for some? Yes.
I'm gonna basically make it wet
Mm.
without touching you,
Mm-hmm.
because again, if I'm touching you now, that's predictable.
It is.
And predictability is not attractive.
No, it's not.
You know, if I know your every move, like that guy that sleep on the same couch and do this every
Ew.
like if I know where you're gonna sit every corner every day, eventually it does affect attraction as well.
It does.
You know, but if we switch it up sometimes, what I tell you, one of the reasons why I took this project, I get the hell out of the house for 1 week at least. I'll come back.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It refreshes things. It makes things feel fresh.
Mm-hmm.
I said that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot that happens before we get into the bedroom.
Mm-hmm.
The problem with a lot of people is that, how do you define making a move?
Mm-hmm.
If you making a move is which I do a lot, I don't mind doing that. But right. But the point is that if the woman is in a place where she never makes a move at all, and you will like that, now self-control is needed, because it takes for you to get because you make the move because you make the move. You like doing that.
Mm-hmm.
You're aggressive like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what works for you guys up to a certain point.
Mm-hmm.
But now it's time to pull back, self-control, because it's going to take self-control. How do you go a whole night and not touch her?
Mm-hmm.
And pull back a little bit, let her breathe a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
The idea of letting her breathe, that's directly correlated to building attraction.
Right.
Because she's going to wonder,
Mm-hmm.
what happened?
She can't predict you anymore.
Right. What
Now
happened?
she's going to be obsessed.
What happened? You know? So,
yeah, so for those women that are trying to make moves on their husband and they're getting turned down, what should they do?
She needs to learn seduction other ways, right? So it must be the same. So making a move again, let's define that properly.
I mean,
it can't be the same.
We have our auntie and uncle that, you know, when they're in the mood, they're like, showa.
Shewa.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to laugh, but every time
if you do, let's use that for example, babe.
That is so funny.
Yeah.
You know,
exactly. That's what you get for making fun of.
Oh my God, I can't. Don't mess up my head.
Let's use that for example, baby. If it's shower every time, that's gonna get boring.
You think so?
Everything gets boring. That's the point. Everything gets boring. You gotta switch it up every now and then. Switch it up. It's okay to have your own method that works all the time.
Right.
But you gotta
have your
switch it
own
up every now and then.
You gotta switch it up.
You gotta switch it up every now and then.
I agree with that.
Do you know the English bracket? Do you know the meaning of symbiotic? What is symbiotic?
I think Brad TK should enlighten us. All this Nigerian
that's a biological term, and
I would bring it out for you.
Yeah.
Let me check it.
Yeah, sounds right, but I have a feeling that it's when it comes to seduction, it's slightly a little different, because again,
symbiotic.
We're talking about attraction. We're talking about how to rekindle attraction. That's what we're talking about. And there are two ways really. Deep game. Involving interaction between two different organisms living in close. Oh, it has to be kind of mutual.
Close physical association, denoting a mutually beneficial relationship between different people.
Okay, as far as benefits, absolutely. As far as benefit, I think it's the benefit part that makes it symbiotic. Right. As far as benefit, absolutely. When it comes to making moves, which I kind of like that phrase, when it comes to making moves, seducing another person, no, symbiotic has to go out the window, because we have real problems where people feel unwanted in their relationship. And it's not right and wrong. It's not necessarily because that person is already sleeping with somebody else either.
No, it's
because some people are very quick to go in that direction.
You're getting it from somewhere.
Maybe you're getting it from somewhere. No, some people are just like that, you know, and you have to seduce them. Yeah. And I would say you have to find the fun in seducing them.
Some people are just that complicit, like numb. It could be
they're just there, you know, especially when we talk about a woman. A woman can easily go into a phase where she's just okay because she's taking care of kids.
She has other
preoccupied.
things that
She's, you know,
preoccupied.
and when you have that together with the society, that makes it like no, the man should just make the move anyway. How about you make the move by making her make the move? That's what we're talking about here. Seduction. That's what we're talking about. Okay. I'm going to give you some resources because we can't cover all of that and we're already over time. You know, the second part.
Oh shit, we're over time.
Yeah, we're over time.
My French.
We talked about let me go back to comments here. All right, so we talked about listen. The first one is listen and make the person feel heard. Yeah. If it's a man, you switch that on the head. It's basically the ego. He needs to feel his ego being stroked.
Yep.
He needs to feel like the hero in your relationship. If he doesn't feel like the hero in your relationship, it's only a matter of time. He will feel less than himself.
Don't ask why. That's just how
it's just the way the brain is set up. Yeah.
This is just how it is.
It's just the way
people
the brain
are
is set
too
up.
busy asking why, but why, fighting the.
I don't mind asking why. I don't mind asking
why.
Yeah.
Like not just asking why, because it's okay to have a conversation, but fighting against that is not going to get you anywhere.
She's saying that your why has to stop at some point. You should just know that some things as human beings, it's just our
natural state.
That's just how we are. A man needs his ego stroked. Even if he's a stay-at-home dad, when you come home and he's finished taking care of the kids, he likes appreciation.
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Like he may think he likes sex more, but word of affirmation makes him rise in different parts of the body.
Yeah.
Okay. And of course, it's useful to learn that person's love language.
I actually found out that men don't have sex with women that put them down. They just get, you know,
you
off.
can't rise, you know. It's a turn off.
Yeah.
It's a turn off for a woman to be so macho and masculine and she wants to be my mother. To a certain point, if it's confidence, there's a point you cross that's no more confidence. You're just rude. You're disrespectful. And at that point, you better learn what that is for your man.
Yep.
Because it will hurt. Because you will hurt him and it will hurt you eventually. And I don't mean physically always. The worst part is when it's emotionally, you know. All right. So give and seduce. Give. You go into a relationship to give. We can't stress this enough. Why give and not give and take? Because again, when you put too much focus on take, you will drain that person. Okay.
And when you naturally give, you naturally get.
You will receive.
Yeah.
You will receive.
Get it back.
And if you're not willing to wait on this person until they're willing to give, maybe you're just in the wrong relationship.
Sure.
But focus on giving. If you like this person, focus on giving to them. If they want space, give it to them. If they want affection, give it to them. Try your best. Meet them in the middle. Just give. Whatever that person's idea of whatever they're asking is, try to listen. Again, listen to what that is. Sorry, babe.
Don't touch their head one more time.
Like the girl that said, you're not kneeling down. It's okay for the guy to walk away. If that's a big deal for him, you don't like that girl enough, maybe that was your cue to walk away. But if you want that girl, that's the moment to give her. She wants to look good on camera while she's being proposed to. Kneel down on one knee. What's the big deal? You do that when you're seducing or you're wooing a person anyway. It doesn't matter what tradition in the world. You all do that. The people get argumentative about it because they're stuck on the idea of proposal or Igbo way. It's not about the thing. It's about the deeper sense of what's happening. When a woman says, why don't you do this for me? If you're very quick to go towards your ego,
African man. I don't kneel down.
Listen, I respect it if something messes with your moral compass, who you are, I respect, but make sure that's what's going on. Because sometimes you just lose out because you're being prideful and you're being stupid, you know? So that's just what that is. Now, let's talk about, speaking of seduce, right? Do you have any to add before I go into this?
No, go ahead.
All right. Speaking of seduce, there is fun in seduction. One of the problems with when people hear seduction is like so much work. I got to pick up a book. Listen, let me say something. Let me give you an idea of the fun that's in seduction. When you were in high school, okay, and you got the guy that you wanted, the most popular guy, that feeling, like you showed yourself, you look good until you got him. That feeling of that chase is still real, even in a marriage. Okay. The only difference now is that you actually have to learn it. You have to learn it as a thing. And when you learn it, it's so much fun when you know that I behaved this way in the past, and now I can do it deliberately, and get what I want and serve my partner in the same space. You know, there's a lot of fun in seduction. Everyone that's in a marriage should learn it. Okay, everything you learn about what love is patient, love is kind, all those things you learn in Galatians, Ephesians, all those things, those are all seduction tactics.
Yeah.
Okay, so don't overthink beyond yourself. A lot of people overthink this stuff, or they're very quick to discard this kind of things and say, man, get all these gurus and all their nonsense and all this life. There's some principles behind how life works, and you just punish yourself by not learning those things. That's what happens. So you get to learn things like characters, different seduction characters. You learn things like anti-seducers, seducer, victims. When people hear victims, so I have to victimize somebody. I mean, somebody was a victim of when you were dressing up and you look like this in the mirror and stuff like that.
Wait, seduction is power, though.
It's what?
It's power.
Yeah. It's power that you can use for both negative and positive. Obviously, you're going to use this for positive to bring attraction back into your marriage. But these are actually skill set that you can actually use to destroy a whole country.
Jesus.
No, it's serious. Okay? It's a serious stuff, right? Separation is part of seduction. How do you pull back?
Yeah.
That's a tactic. Some people say, separation, no, don't do that or in a marriage. You're going to let the devil in. Dude, you're missing it.
The devil is already in.
The devil is already in there. And it's like on a throne.
Because now you're already roommates. What do you think is operating between the two of you if it's not the devil?
Exactly. Yeah, mixed signals. When do you use mixed signals, right? Because it's never black and white. None of this stuff is black and white. It takes practice. That's why it's a art. It's a science, but there's an art to it. Okay, it becomes a science when you become really good with experience. When you become really good at this,
right?
I'm teaching you guys game. Okay, nah, seriously,
Game.
It doesn't matter if you're a woman. It works. Okay, and you get what you want, and nobody's gonna get hurt in the process. Okay, and then we're talking about stirring up anxiety. You catch anxiety when the other person, when you start. You know, not to say that's what he was saying, but when he's talked about making the first move on a woman or who should make the first move, right? The question is an anxiety. The question by itself is anxiety, right? Because you're asking question, you know, there's a level of fear in that process when you're about to make a move on a person, or let's say a woman is getting dressed up, she's about to pick up for a date, but she really wants to win this guy. She would like this guy as a boyfriend already. She's already fantasizing.
I mean, it's fear of the unknown.
It's fear of the unknown.
Anxiety all the time.
How do you reverse engineer that into your relationship? Right? Because when you catch that anxiety, how do you transfer the anxiety to the other person? That's when you know you're seducing. Because again, I always put my hands under her clothes, right? But she just put my hands and just throw it away like this.
Jesus.
Right? But you know, maybe she didn't even do it intentionally. But basically, I'm predictable. Because if that's a new thing, there's no way she's doing that. She's surprised. If that's a new thing, like let's just the only one that's always making move on me. And this one day, every other 9 times, right? And I'll put my hands. She's excited.
She'll be excited, yes.
Because it's new.
It's new. It's a flip.
So in your relationship, in the grand scheme of things beyond sex, how do you stir up anxiety and reverse engineer that back into getting what you want? How do you transfer anxiety to the other person? Because you start with self-control. Start with self-control. You know you have anxiety. Then the next thing to do is transfer that to the next person. How do you do that without coming off as manipulative, without being annoying, without being aggressive, without even saying a word? You know? I know today is a long one.
Yeah. Excuse me.
But you're enjoying it.
My babies are going to come down anytime soon and be like, Mommy.
You see? But you're enjoying it.
I am enjoying it.
Kind of. Not as much as take care of your babies, I see. Lead astray. When I say lead astray, some people are like, that's evil. Well, again,
these are game tactics.
You can use this for bad, for evil, or good. Okay. America has used this to destroy the rest of the world over and over. That's why the greatest nation on earth, they use this. Okay. It's applicable in a relationship between a man and a wife or 2 people. And we do it anyway, unknowingly. You must, again, if you're in a marriage, you must well learn how it works so that you can use it in your favor to get what you want. So again, what we're talking about is bringing attraction back into your marriage. That's not a bad thing.
It's
So
not.
are you leading that person astray? No, not in the grand scheme of things, not totally, but sometimes when you're trying to lure a person
Right.
to be attracted back into the marriage, you have to understand they're just a human being with a human brain in their head. But that's a big topic on its own. Strategic vulnerability. Vulnerability is not always bad. It can be terrible. It can be bad. It can be good. Okay? You can use it to get the other person. It depends on that person. It's with respect to that person. There are certain type of people that vulnerability is what turns them off. The worst thing you want to do is be vulnerable. Let me cry in front of you. No, that's a turn off.
Yeah.
And some people want you to show a little bit, open up a little bit more.
Yeah.
Show your emotions a little bit more. It depends on what you're dealing with. If you don't learn this stuff, you won't know which one is which one. You're just off the handle. To get emotional on here. And then you wonder why you're having misery in your relationship.
Yeah.
It's deep. Isolate. When do you isolate? Right? You know, when I was learning this stuff, I realized I did it in the past, but without doing it, right? Let me give you a case in point. When I took you out for the first time, right? Your sister came with you.
Yes.
That would be the wrong moment to isolate.
That's true. You were
When
like,
we got back.
she can come.
When we got back.
You said she can. When she told me she wanted to come, I was like, that's weird, dude. How am I gonna ask this guy if my sister can come? And when I asked you, you're like, oh, that's fine. Just let her come. I was like, oh.
When we got back.
Kind of different.
Did I not isolate you?
Oh yeah.
All right, good. All right, but it's a big topic. Okay, but it's stuff you can learn. There's a right moment for that, and there's a way you use it. You learn this terminology. You learn how it works in the dynamics of a woman to a man.
Right.
In a marriage, it's magic. It's a lot of fun learning this stuff and learning how to put. And when you're in a situation where you feel like you're the one that make move all the time, it's a lot of fun. Now it's a chase. Like chase is fun, right? But without aggressively chasing or running your mouth, I'm the only one that makes the move. Every time we say that, it works against us.
Of course.
And I've done that before.
Oh yeah.
Like you know, I feel like now she really doesn't want to do. Right? We do that when we feel like you're the homie, and it's okay for us to communicate. Let's just tell her I'm the only one that's been making the move. Wrong move, anti-seduction. Okay, it doesn't work. It will only make her not want it. Okay, and vice versa.
Okay,
and a man too. You go to a man, you say we're not affectionate. Like, it's turned off. Like you're nagging.
Yeah,
it's a turn off. So you need to learn other things, other communication channels. That's not necessarily your words. Words in relationships are overrated. I promise you, they're overrated. You have to tone it down. Okay, so it's not that communication doesn't work. Communication 2.0 works. You have to learn. It's about listening. It's about using other forms of communication.
For more training on building and attracting a blissful marriage, please visit www.lolaandola.com.